Hello everyone! I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shakha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And in this one, I wanted to kind of do a couple of videos over the next couple of days about like a recap of 2020 and looking forward into 2021. What do I see? What did I do in 2020 that really satisfied me? And what am I looking forward to doing in 2021? So kind of like a recap and a forward-looking thing. So I'll do a couple of videos about that, maybe 2 or 3, depending on how I feel. But in this one, I wanted to speak about particularly one of my main ideas, one of my main things, and I think it was a big one for me in 2020 as well. But because of the pandemic, it was kind of even exaggerated a bit. But it is definitely one of my things for 2021, and it is about slowing down. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are looking at me thinking, well, the pandemic has already caused us all to slow down a lot, and so why do you want to slow down even further? Obviously, it makes sense. I understand what you're saying, but I think there's a difference between consciously and making a choice with slowing down rather than being forced to slow down. And I think in a lot of cases, with regards to the situation that we're in with the pandemic, with the COVID virus, a lot of us have been kind of thrown into the deep end and thrown into the thing saying, okay, now you slow down. Mother Earth is like, okay, go, slow down. Like, the world needs to slow down. You guys are moving way too fast. You're depleting resources way too fast. All of you sit down in your room, think about what you've done, and slow down and really realize, is this the life that you want to lead, right? Unfortunately, a lot of us, when we were put into the deep end and we were thrown into our rooms and locked up kind of, we decided, no, we're not going to think about it. No, I like my life. I want to live very fast. And so we started doing other things in order to fill the time, like baking bread or, I don't know, other things that people have been doing. Having sex, I'm guessing, a lot of it. But in general, the idea with my slowing down is I actually want to make it a conscious habit that I bring into every single day of 2021. I tried a lot to bring into 2020, but what happens with me particularly I don't know if it's an INFJ thing or it's just me, but what happens is that I have all of these amazing ideas in my head. I have all of these ideas for projects. I haven't even started a lot of them because I just don't have the time for it, or the capacity, or I just don't have the time for it, actually, the energy, the time, and because there's so many things going on in my head and so many ideas that are constantly popping up like bubbles that I really have to say no to maybe 99% of them. And you might think, a lot of you might think looking at me that I do a lot of things. In fact, yeah, maybe I do a lot of things, but really, if I said yes to all of the things that were going on in my head, I would be doing a lot more. So of course, I don't do as much as I can, maybe, because I don't have the time for it or the energy, or I have a very long and strenuous spiritual practice every day, meditation, yoga, and all that. And so a lot of my energy goes towards that rather than going towards my projects and time as well. And so I've been noticing that, I do tend to say yes to a lot of projects, even jumping into them without even thinking about, okay, do I have the time for it? Do I have the energy for it? Should I even be going into it? And in 2020, I do realize that even though I'm saying no a lot, I'm still saying yes way too often. And it's kind of interesting because even if I'm saying no to 99% of the things that come at me, I still end up saying yes to a lot of the things that I shouldn't be saying because I just don't have the time or energy for it. And it's not even saying yes to other people, actually. I'm very good at saying yes or no to other people, but it's about saying yes or no to myself. I'm terrible at saying no to myself, because especially when a project pops up in my head and I get really excited about it, in that moment in time, I'm literally like, oh my God, I'm so excited, I want to do this. And that energy kind of propels me into the project, and I do it, and then I burn out because I just don't have the energy or the time for it. So in 2021, I'm really trying to focus on making sure that not only do I say no to the outside events and people that are out there, which is very easy for me, as I said, I can easily say no to people, no problem at all. But when it comes down to saying no to myself and to the projects that are coming up in my head, I have a harder time with it. And as I said, slowing down in general means saying no to a lot of the things that are coming up. it's not that you're kind of restricting yourself. Yeah, you might have FOMO. You might be like, oh my god, I'm missing out on this and that. I shouldn't have said no. I should have gone to this. And yeah, a lot of times you will have FOMO. But in general, as you start building up your practice and building up the things that you're doing, you will realize that all of that time that you've garnished by saying no to other people or to all the things that you're thinking about doing, you actually use that time for contemplation, for reflection, for projects that you really care about, for these videos that I do, for the writing that I do that I love, things like that. A lot of times what happens with us is that in order to bring in a new project into our life, something new into our life, we'll say no to the things that we're already doing that we really like. Why are we doing that? I completely don't understand my own way of doing things, where I already have a bunch of things that I'm doing that I love to do. And they're great, they're perfect, there's no need to change them. They're literally the things I want to do for the rest of my life, right? Doing the videos that I do, the writing that I do, the podcasts, everything that I'm doing right now, I love. But instead of just sticking with it and being like, all right, I'm going to do this and I love it and I want to keep on doing it until I die, my mind starts wandering and starts creating all these things in my head, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I should do this as well and that as well and this and that. Thankfully, I say no to most of them, but sometimes I do end up saying yes, which means that because of a limited time and energy quota, I have to make sure that I kind of take time away from the things I really do love and I'm already doing. Like perhaps I have to do less videos, or I end up doing less writing, or I end up doing less things that I like in general, right? Less spiritual practice. As I said, so I'm really going to try. This is one of my resolutions for 2021. It's kind of interesting. It's a opposite resolution, if you say. Most people want to do things in 2021 because they've been stuck for so long, but I really, really want to try and do less in 2021. Not only in terms of like just sitting around and staring off into space, which I would really like to do more of because I did not do that enough in 2020, but also contemplation, time for reflection, journaling, just sitting and communing with nature. I definitely don't do enough of that. Because I get so excited by my projects, even my sister says it to me, you kind of get up in the morning and you eat a little bit of food, and I eat a little bit in the morning after my spiritual practice, my yoga, and then I will sit down and I'll just work until 5, 6, 7 p.m. without even realizing that time's going by. Like I might eat a little bit in the middle of it, but I'm just like so focused into my work that I forget about the rest of the world. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I am excited that I'm finally living a life where I'm not bored, but I do want to make sure that I have a little bit more time to do the things that I really want to do, which is spending time in nature, going for hikes, going for walks by the beach, or just sitting and journaling a lot more, communing with the divine, asking them questions, or communing with my deeper self, my soul, and asking her what it wants or she wants. Things like that, things that I might not get time to do because I'm doing all of this work, human work, I would say. So as I said, this is one of my big things for 2021. It's extremely hard for me to even imagine how that would look like, because already I'm looking at 2021 and I'm like, oh, I want to do this new project, I want to release this blog, I want to release that, and I'm going to have to try and be like, all right, no, I know you're really excited about these things, but you're going to have to say no more often than less. Of course, another thing that I'm also thinking about in order to do more but less is to outsource a lot of it. And so I've been in 2020, in the end of 2020, in November, December, I've been looking for a lot of people outwardly, like people who can do some writing for me, people who can do some blog posting, things like that for me. And so I've been hiring a couple of people, part-timers obviously, and asking them to kind of take on a little bit of the burden so that I will have more time to do the things I want to do, which is reflection, contemplation, and nature. And so that's actually something interesting that I've never done before, and it's kind of scary and freaky and exciting all at the same time, because hiring someone, as you might know, for an INFJ, delegating things is kind of like a big no-no, and I might do a video about this soon, because it literally is like a nightmare to an INFJ. We know how we want things done, and we want it done right, and we want it done perfectly the way we would do it, but of course when we hire someone else, they don't actually do it exactly the way we want it to done, and then we get angry, upset, stressed out, etc. So that's actually a very good lesson for me, to let go a little bit more and to accept what's going on. So this is something that I want to share with you. I'd love to hear your reflections about 2021 and what are you looking for in 2021. What is something that you really want to happen in 2021? Is it more travel? Is it less travel? Is it more family time? Is it, I don't know what it is. And so please share with me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, because I'm sure a lot of you are actually sitting down right now, hopefully you are, and thinking about 2020. You know, how did it go? What were the good things? What were the bad things? What did you learn? What lessons do you want to carry into 2021? These are the questions I would answer. And then looking at 2021 and figuring out, okay, what do I want in 2021? What do I want it to look like? What would be the ideal 2021 for me? You know, and then answering those questions, I think is very helpful for anyone to do. Maybe I'll do a video about that as well. All right, again, thank you so much for listening, for watching, for being on my channel, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.